We're going to look at my absolute favourite rigs for open water fishing when there's no weed now. So this first one has probably caught me more carp than any other rig I've ever cast out. Very, very easy to tie and can be adjusted up or down in size to suit different waters in England and in Europe. So to talk you through it, first of all, I've got a size 4 wide gape on there that I've made barbless because it's a barbless rule here on Gigantica. But most importantly, see the colour of the hook. It's PTFE coated in a brown colour that we've matched perfectly to gravel on the lake bed. So nobody else has managed to do this yet, so this is absolutely the first of its kind. And also, we've covered the point up before we've coated them, so the point is uncoated, and that leaves it extremely sharp. And believe it or not, they stay sharper than the point that's PTFE coated. So major, major advantages there. Now, I've tied that onto a bit of hybrid stiff material, stripped the coating away with a stripper tool, and then laid the hook on the uncoated section, made a big loop, wrapped around the hook with the front of the loop once, going up, and then wrapped around again, going down the hook towards the eye, and then pulled the tag end at the front of the hook to pull it all tight. A very neat knot, and one that I got taught years ago that's never let me down. The line's then put through the eye of the hook, always towards the point to help that hook flip over and catch hold. And then onto the eye of the hook, I've put some shrink tubing. This is the clay colour in the medium size, the 1.6mm. That shrinks down to a third of its size and just helps the hook flip over and catch hold. And then up the shank of the hook there, I've got a small size rig ring, and I've just tied a simple overhand knot in that to lock it in place. And then the hair is measured up against the size of the bait to get that right. I normally tie them a little bit too long and then do a second overhand knot in the loop of the hair, and that shortens the hair down and helps keep that bait still on the hair as well. And then moving down the hook link, I've got 2 sinkers there, 2 tungsten hook link weights, part rubber, part tungsten. We've had them made so they even slide onto this stiff material really easily. Sometimes you have to wet them a little bit before you pull them on, but they will slide on there and they'll just help to pin that down. And they're also gravel coloured, just like the hook link. So everything is matching perfectly on a gravel bottom that we're fishing here. And then moving down to the other end of the hook link, this is my favourite bit, the sexiest bit. It looks very insignificant, but we've been working on these for absolutely years, and I'm pleased to say we've finally got them right. That's a double barrel crimp there. Basically, you pass the hook link through one of the barrels, round the link loop, back through the other one, pull it up tight, and then use this little fella, a crimping tool, and you just squeeze that crimp down, and it grips on there so tight that you get a much higher breaking strain than you would if you tied any knot. We rate this material at 20 pounds. If you tie a grinner or a half blood in it, that's what it breaks at. With a crimp, it breaks at 32 pounds. So it's just never ever going to go. It's so simple to do, and you can get the hook link exactly the right length. So watch out for those. They are going to revolutionise how you tie rigs, especially the coated hook links, but it will work on things like IQ as well. So that's my favourite one, probably 8 inches long. The lead's not plummeting into the bottom at all, but because we're boilie fishing, it's a little bit longer than I would normally use because the fish are moving quite quickly between the big spread of boilies. And to help that hook go in the fish's mouth, I've just drilled that 22mm cell hook bait out, probably 2/3 of the way through, and then filled it with a 6mm cork plug, and that just takes some of the weight of the hook away. It's not a slow sinker. The hook's still going to be laying flat on the bottom with the bait just ever so slightly above it, so no different from the free offerings, but it just helps it to fly in just that little bit easier. So that's the first one. Just basically another version there. That's what's doing the business on this lake at the moment. These little green pop-ups we call mean greens. They're actually mainline Indian spice pop-ups. Used them just for a laugh really, to be honest. Kev sent us some. We thought we'd chuck one out, caught fish on it straight away, and that's what Danny now uses exclusively on here. And I've had loads on here myself using exactly that combination. Again, not slow sinking. It's just gonna sink so the hook's laying flat on the bottom. The bait will just be sitting like that, so it's not up in the air like a pop-up is. And that is working extremely well, and everything else on there is exactly the same as the last one I've showed you. And then if you want to use an even lighter hook bait, then that's the one that I recommend. We've got a KD style setup there, so I've still got a size 4 wide gape. I've in-turned the eye a little bit more on this one just to help it flip over and catch hold, because I'm not using the shrink tube on this rig. And then the hook baits, I've got a larger mean green pop-up, that's an 18mm one, 22mm bottom bait, and you can see I've sliced a little bit away of each one there so that it just sinks nice and slowly. The hook will still be lying flat. If I put that on my finger, it will sort of sit like that. So the hook's laying flat on the bottom, but the bait is just sort of hovering above it. That flies up into their mouth really easily. Because the bait's weightless, that hook flips over and catches hold really quickly. So on the other ones, I've used a shrink tube to help it flip over. On this one, I've used the buoyancy of the bait to help it flip over. So that's what I recommend for open water fishing. Scale it up or down. For UK fishing, I'll probably go down to a size 8 or 10 wide gape if I was in the UK, and you could scale it up to a 2 if you're fishing the big waters in France and the other countries in Europe. So that's the hook links. Let's have a look at the lead systems.